is doing or has done in history. So they're neutralizing us. The white cops are killing the black people that are unarmed. So they're neutralizing us in one way. Then they're sending the kids to the border. Now before I came down here, I had a little
sending kids to the border. What are you talking about? Like the illegal alien kids, or what other kind of kids are they sending to?
No, I'm just saying. Supposedly they're here illegally.
Oh, I got it. Okay,
but their ancestors were here first, just like the Indians and the Muslims and everybody else. But the long story short is we're able to see this in real time on television of what their plan really is, and what reason why Big Head, I call him Big Head, which is Trump, but he talked to Putin and was like, look, man, this is your time to come into the country. Obama's out. We have complete control of the blacks. We're killing the people at the borders. We're setting up all these camps. We're busing people out. We're killing people. We're doing all this stuff. And we're going to kill the whites that are with them or has their views. But because when they created the law, their only mistake is they thought that was going to affect all black people. But when it affected their people,
the poor people,
then it's like, okay, then it started becoming real.
Yeah, because that's your cousin now, or that's your sister's son, or your sister's grandson, or brother's son.
So we're able to see in real time something that is hidden, because I'm telling you, man, this is real shit now. I'm not gonna lie. Thing about it is, though, man, in 5 years or less, and nobody that is, whether they're black or white, they don't want to believe this. But what's going to happen in the next 5 years is we are going to be under Russian control.
Yeah.
I truly believe that. They're going to call it Amerirussia. Amerirussia.
Amerirussia.
So what they talked about, because notice when they went to Helsinki a few weeks back, they showed you going in, and they seen old boy before they sat down. He kind of winked over at old boy, winked at him. So we don't know what they talked about, but on the flip side of that, we do know what they talked about, because that place was already bugged before Big Head went over there. You're under investigation, motherfucker. We're not gonna let you just fully go over there. We're not going to know what you're up to. So their whole plan is like, look, man, Obama is out. This is our opportune moment to strike. We're the two most powerful non-black nations in the world.
Well, there are no powerful black nations other than Pakistan and India.
Yeah, but
that's it. I can name you some pretty powerful white nations. England, UK, Germany, Italy. Greece has a great military.
But if it came down to Russia and Great Britain, Russia's destroying Great Britain.
Only because of nuclear weaponry. Because without nuclear weaponry, they still have the sea.
Okay,
Britain still have the sea.
Okay, the reason why there's a certain relationship that's between Russia and Great Britain that goes all the way back even before World War II.
But it was consolidated after World War II, because those boys had a secret meeting. Those boys in Europe, they came together and said, look, there will be no more white man and white man wars like we just had. It fucked us up. They realized it. And it wasn't for that war, you would have never had the counterculture revolution in the 50s and 60s. That started in the 50s and really blossomed in the 60s, because you had white men with guns with the racist ass attitude that they were raised to have, saying, no, nigga, you're not doing it in this town today. And they would have shot motherfuckers. But you can't shoot a motherfucker if you're dead over there on Normandy Beach.
But also too, Russia basically, you know how it is, like, I'll tell you an example. You might live next door to somebody or something like that, and they be like, not to cross them. They know not to cross you. You know what I'm saying? In a roundabout way. But Russia brought it to Great Britain during World War II. Russia occupied Germany and parts of France and parts of Europe. And see, that's where they've always had the advantage on the United States, because previous until that, we never fought overseas.
Well, World War One, we fought the Germans. The Soviets didn't have as big of an influence then as they did in World War II.
Well,
but one thing the Soviets always had, which once again goes back to the racial component of this conversation, They always had a large population of straight up.
Because think about this. Because think about this.
People.
If we don't get it under control in the next 5 years, look what's getting ready to happen. Okay, number one, it's kind of interesting how a Russian killed Bill Cosby's son. Okay.
Or so they say.
Okay.
And a Russian killed what? A reporter on British soil too.
Mm-hmm. So
I think it was about what, 5 years after that.
Well, then something else just happened too. And remember that cat that had the radiation shit?
That's what I was just said. The reporter.
Yeah,
he was killed.
What's his name?
I don't know the guy's name, but he was killed in England.
Yeah.
All right. He was actually poisoned on their soil.
Right.
That tells you two things. One, it tells you they have assets in England to carry out the Kremlin's will. It tells you another thing. They also have apparently assets in America to carry out the Kremlin's will. And the Kremlin's will is a white supremacist will. What was Bill Cosby trying to do? He was trying to get NBC.
Right.
They kill his son, the Russians. Boom. Now you have racist Trump pandering to the Russians. Boom. So what I'm saying is this. Either we're going to let these hateful motherfuckers rule the world with their dogmatic hate bullshit and using books to justify this shit. Books that, you know, the last time I checked, when I speak to, I said this on the show, and I'm going to share it with you guys. I speak to Deacon Asa from the United Israelites. They're Black Hebrew Israelites, right? And I want to ask him this question. If Satan was powerful enough to wage war in heaven, you're suggesting he's not powerful enough to basically infiltrate and pollute on a tiny, minute level any religious text on earth? So therefore, on earth, which used to be his own kingdom, mind you, any book, because then think about this here. If he can lie to the people way back 1,000, 2,000 years ago, and people are following it and killing people over it, the fix is already in. Because as soon as you use the books to justify some evil shit and you feel good about it, it was already his word.
So what do you think? So what do you guys think about the whole Russia investigation?
I think that's a distraction. I think we should still be focused on right now the Japanese. I think you should be a little concerned about people having hate and animosity towards the whole country of America because we vaporized Grandpa for real.
Well, you know that China is on the rise, and they're flying their planes for possibly attack on the United States.
We'll trip on this. If you check out Japanese anime, what's the primary component? Like robots, futuristic robots, Gundam, BattleBots, whatever. And they're just laying waste to motherfuckers, right? Mm-hmm. What country owns Boston Dynamics, the leading premier state-of-the-art United States robotic company? What country owns that?
China.
No. Japan owns them. Now, I have a brother. He travels all over the world for a certain industry. And he shared a story with me. And it really kind of terrified me, actually. He's like, you know, I was over there in Japan. You better understand, Patrick, that they're looking at us like we're all one. White folks and black folks are all one. Are the big eyes versus normal eyes. Well, once again, it's just like racism, except for we're taking a different aspect of the human body and amplifying it.
The only thing is, with how I feel, though, man, is like I feel that they do have a strategic plan to get ready to wipe everybody out.
Why do you think they're building cities in the deserts? Oh, do you not hear about that? Satellite imagery is finding massive cities with full infrastructures in the Chinese deserts.
Because I mean,
why do you think they're doing that?
I mean, what's to say? Like I said, like it goes harkening back to at the beginning of this conversation. It's like I feel that they're getting ready to take over. Like they made their final push. It's either they're good actors. Sometimes I feel like they're either good actors and all of this shit is staged to still fuck with the motherfuckers, or they really doing this shit. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta look at it like this, kind of linearly. After the Mao Revolution, what did China do? They did a major cleansing. Anybody that did not have the party's ideology and was instilling that ideology into their kids, they were gone.
I mean, what did he think? I mean, what would you guys do if you looked out your window and there's Russian troops that's out here, not American, and they're sitting there?
We would be killing them.
You know
Just
what I'm
like
saying?
if there was white nationalists out there or black nationalists out there or anybody out there talking about killing this family, me and her would kill them. You'll be peaced out. If enough of you come, then guess what? You're going to kill us, right? But them people in there, they're going to kill you. And your people. So that's what we would do. I can't speak for nobody else.
Man, I think, to me, like,
That's what we would.
Some people may say it's a conspiracy theory, but I was like, I don't care.
Right or wrong, baby.
I truly believe that shit's getting ready to happen, bro.
And if it does, we are prepared. Listen.
Because, like,
we're not going to stay. When something like that happens, dog, when something like that pops off, we are not staying in this locale. We are, listen, the funny thing about it, we're already set to go. There's nothing. Like, oh my God, we invested so much of our time and blood and sweat. Man, I could just leave all this except for the people in this. I could leave all this tonight. That's how we're geared to move. And they will adapt quickly because I'm teaching them to adapt quickly. See, look, what you're talking about at the end of the day, self-preservation, brother. But you're using intellect of past experiences to justify wanting to save self. I didn't ever have that hang-up. It's like I already knew something was wrong. I already knew that we were in some sort of state of affairs that was bad. All right? As just being a human. Especially growing up down here. But then once I grew up and matured and I saw and traveled this world, this planet, and talked to people who are straight up from other cultures, talked to people who are straight up not from what I was locally used to, did I start seeing and then start reading, obviously, from people who, you know, didn't live around me, obviously. That's the benefit of so-called reading. But I come to this understanding at the end of that fucking big-ass circle. What I felt in here has always been right. What you felt in there for you has always been right. Ultimately, what you feel in your heart for yourself has always been right. And the thing about it is, if I can get enough people who feel like me and think like me, then I can control you guys if you don't believe like me. If you think that's a fucking lie, then you justify it with your history. You justify it with your books you read. And you'll see what I just told you without looking at any materials that you're going to bring to me saying contrary. That's already true. That's how the fix is in. So whenever you see these imams, you see these preachers, and they're using a book to justify what they're doing, you're a fool if you try to go up against them. Because they already laid it out in the book. It's already a blueprint. And you can't, because it's already constructed, you can't deal with that. You can't. It's already constructed. That's why you best rely on what's in here that came with you. You're a computer. You're a computer. The kids are a computer. The neighbors are a computer. You guys are all supercomputers. But you're glitching now because you've been given wrong data and your heads ain't popping right. As a collective, not, and me included. Me included. I ain't above all this, even though I can see it.
So what do you guys think about, like from the perspective of like the people that you see on, like, all the time, like all the same people that you see every day, no matter if you know what I'm saying, like you turn on the television or computer.
It's always the same old algorithm. It's always the same old face. It's the same old type of stories. You got to start fucking with them. Start mixing it up. If you're constantly looking for, like, say, political, topics, do 1 week, at least 5 searches a day of, G.I. Joe or Spider-Man or something crazy, something outside your norm. It could be a book on butterflies. It could be a book on worms. It could be a book on anything outside your norm. And I'll start fucking with the algorithm. Because unfortunately, just like any man-made thing, it gets lazy. It gets used to a certain predictability amongst what it's looking at. In other words, the computer already knows that if you come in here for the past 7 months, right, and you're always, let's say that you go to CNN News, then you go to YouTube, then you may go to Facebook, but you always do it in that order as soon as you wake up. It's going to get kind of locked into that, and it ain't going to change. It's always going to give you that. That's why that's why Alex Jones was banned. He wasn't banned because what he's saying was true or false. He wasn't banned because of that. He was banned because he was getting motherfuckers actually energetic and, you know, motherfuckers that would never expect for their little peasantry in their particular little kingdom.
That motherfucker was racist too, though.
Of course, because he'll be the first one to tell you.
They allowed him to.
But he's racist in the wrong way. I would be totally cool with Alex Jones or anybody else as long as they're racist as far as the human race. Meaning that we should take care of all of humanity and then worry about whatever else is out there. Until we get that type of unity and love, there is no such thing as the one supreme race. And you gotta have to look at history to validate it. Because, yeah, we're underneath the so-called European rule globally, right? But really, we know that's kind of being false. I mean, yeah, they have nuclear missiles, they have armies, they have basically control of the economic system globally. I'm not talking about in your little countries, wherever you may be. But really, are they really controlling the planet? I mean, do they not fear when they get out off of the tourist path in various countries? Or wasn't after World War II, they were told, even in Germany, you do not go down that corridor. Because those people down there will kill you. So last time I checked, brother, if you have control, that means you can take your happy ass in. Like, for real, Donald Trump controls this country. His ass could drive up in front of this house right now and everybody just be in awe. We wouldn't be out to kill him. We'd just be like, oh, what the fuck? Orange, big, eggheads here? You know? We would, you know, it
why
wouldn't be...
Why they let him do all the shit? Why do you think that he's getting away? Let's talk about that, Brother Pat. Let's really get in deep with this whole thing, and then there's stuff.
Let's say for real, for fact, there's a group of white men who are so-called genetically white, who know that they're all genetically white, and who's viewing the world from a certain point of view. The reason why their certain point of view is important is because they actually have the resources, they actually have the political means, and they actually have the economic power to influence their personal vision. Can we agree that that's the setup here? Gotta say yes or no. For the record. This should be recording still.
Yeah.
For the record. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
We said that. Now, that being true, then when you talk about things like the Illuminati, you talk about things like cults, you talk about things like traditional religious institutions, and it's all founded from this certain point of view, white supremacist point of view, Eurocentric point of view. All right? And that's being played out not just in the churches with white Jesus. Come on. You hear me? Yep. You heard that term before. No, it's not going to be played out in just the white Muhammad. It's not going to be played out in the white Buddha or the white Krishna of the Hindus, right? I'm saying this to hammer this point. If you think I'm bullshitting, where there is a secret group of white men literally in a room right now with AIDS and that. Hear me, people. And they're scared. Because the true quote-unquote Messiah and the true quote-unquote Antichrist is out there. And guess what? They got power too. Now that's the spiritual thing. Let's put that on the side. Now let's go into the 3D thing that we're actually seeing. That me and you actually have to experience. Okay? So, I'm a Edomite. Alright? And I'm like, look, nigger, I don't care how poor I am. I don't care how trifling I live, nigger. I'm better than you because I got this skin. Now, anybody with melanization can say whatever. But if you're in the battle, that hurts you. Because what he's telling you is, you know what, when I go to Walmart and I give them $100 bill, they're not going to put it up in the sky and hit it with the pen. You know, when I get pulled over by the cop, he ain't going to come out, hey, how many warrants you have? Have you been arrested? Are you on probation? You know, when I go to the bank, no matter how trifling and filthy I am, I may actually get consideration for that loan. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anything I say been a lie so far? Or been out of the ordinary of, like, respectable, I guess, reality? No. The average person has to say no. But that's where we have to end kind of the stereotype and the prefaces on past behavior being the expectation of what this human being in front of you or beside you or behind you or in front of you can achieve. Let's go back down to religion, and let's throw in the Masons. Let's throw in the secret organizations that we do not know their names, but they do exist. And then let's throw in the Satanists as a collective corporate non-traditional religion.
Yeah.
When you have the Masons, and up until recent time, you actually had in America a black Mason and a white Mason. Once again, ensuring the white secret elite is their visions is being fulfilled in the brightest amongst certain demographics, because you have to commend a lot of Masonic brothers and sisters for their contribution to the society we're so-called dwelling in now, because it's not all bad. This isn't all whips and chains now. We can drink ice cold water. We can enjoy electricity and insurance and homes. But you have to play the game to get that. And we'll go back to that when we talk about economics. But for right now, on the spiritual side of it, the thing we have to understand is that Masonry has lasted because of what? They could indoctrinate certain youths to continue to practice. Catholicism, same. Black power, the same. White power, the same. Any organization relies on the youth. Without the youth, you die out. I hate to tell you. You can have the strongest religion, the strongest faith, but as soon as you go, we all know there is no religious leader that has come forth that says, "Hey, I've been here since the beginning. You don't need to go here. You don't need to go there. I can tell you exactly what happened. Show me one. I don't need a million, just one man, woman, or child. Of course, it's going to be a child, chicken or the egg thing, but who has been here since the beginning of all of this, because." When I look around, when I pick up this pen right here, and I write on this board over here, you know how many hundreds of years, damn near thousands of years, from so-called Adam and Eve, for that to really occur in reality. We can talk all the bullshit we want all day, but for me to be like, write this phrase out, I can't. All I get is one little scratch, but then now I'm back to what? This is primitive. Duh. The end. I scratched that into the board, but before my ink ran out, I was able to write it. Now, that in itself is nothing. You know the reason why? The real kicker, the real question is, how do I know how to write these symbols for you to understand or another human being to understand? That's the beauty of indoctrination. And that's why you can understand me now and I can understand you. That's what's so important about language. That's what's so important about gesture, non-verbal and verbal.
So what do you think about, so why are they letting Big Head do what he's doing?
Because Big Head is drawing out all the people they need to draw out to be crushed so that when they bring down the hammer, there will be truly no resistance. So what I'm ultimately saying, all the fools that set up and says shit about him, when it's time to gather up, they're already easily identified. They already have the information against them. If they even want to do a pretend court for sedition, because and that's what people don't realize. Under martial law, what is the punishment for sedition? You know what sedition is. Sedition is actually either writing or physically engaging or actually speaking words against the duly elected government in benefit of the enemy, or anything against the government. So anytime anyone has said, Trump is blah, 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 this or that, and same thing with Obama and Bush, they're really engaging in an act of sedition. Now, of course, our Constitution is supposed to give us the freedom of speech. So therefore, sedition means a little less in the society. But the beautiful thing about indoctrination, once again, and being in control of said indoctrination, when it's time for me to bring the hammer down, what I keep on meaning by bringing the hammer down is what Brother C.I. said out here in the streets, an actual vehicle with actual troops and actual armed men, or robotic avatars of said men and vehicles out here performing their activities and actively engaging either a automaton robot or an actual human being or a combination of the two. That's what I'm saying. They're already going to know who to target. A lot of people are going to be destroyed by drones. A lot of people are going to be destroyed by poison. A lot of people are going to be destroyed by agents. You know the story of Troy, right? The Trojan horse. The Greeks surrounded the city of Troy. For those who don't know or who are young, may not know the story. Ancient Greek mythos. There was a city of Troy. When the princess of Troy basically wooed the queen of Sparta to basically, fuck and basically be his chick. Well, the Greeks did not take kindly to one of their queens being treated as such, so they came upon Troy to allegedly get the queen, but really was to get Troy's resources. Well, Troy loses this war because after, 10 years of sieging, the Greeks couldn't penetrate the walls. All right, Troy they had the walls, you couldn't penetrate it. So they built the horse, and we sat there by the door. Trojans opened it up. The Greeks had infiltrators inside the horse. So when the Troy's party, yeah, drunkards. See, this is all teaching us basic parables. When your civilization, this is why the Muslims' faith is so strong, and the true people of the book are so strong, is because they are sober of mind. Then they wouldn't fall for that trick. They would have burnt that horse at the door. We don't want nothing from a Greek. That's what they would have said if they were righteous, but they weren't. No, we're going to take this up. Oh, cool. And party and drinking, trying fornicating, get a little sex on, then they pass out. Once they pass out, a portion of the men open up that little secret hatch.
So basically,
came on down and killed them.
Trump's going to be the one to kick everything off. As far as the war of bringing in.
You're
Russia
talking about the actual
America.
physical 3D war. That when you know that to be happening, what's going to first happen is the reconciliation or the inevitability of debt payoff. When we do something, and once again, this could be Trump's leadership, and it's not going to be in the aspect of what most people are looking at. This is the Duke and then the Judge. His leadership caused us to do something on a global scene, and then the global powers that be said, okay, America, we need our $21 trillion now. The loan's overdue. We're calling it in. We want the assets. It's time for liquidation. And it's time for austerity on the American people. And people are not going to want to hear the word austerity measures in America. Because that means your water, your electricity, everything's privatized by non-local entities. Meaning there'll be a industry from Germany, industry from France, industry from Russia, industry from China that will actually own the resources. Yes, Americans will be able to labor in there, but labor and ownership are two different things for those who work in this society. And that's how they're already gearing us. Most of us have no aspirations or dreams to be the master of a plantation. We just want to be a straw boss. We just want to be the head Negro in the house. We don't want to be the actual owner of the plantation. Well, there's plantations on other parts of the world, and they're still owning their shit. And they're going to see this as a big fat pussy waiting to get fucked, is what I'm saying on that level. And the way Trump would carry us, lock, stock, and barrel into this, is by rhetoric, posturing, and knowing deep down in his heart. One thing I would say, they do got the right man for the bankruptcy. It takes a man to know how to ride a bankruptcy, on a personal level. See, I've never been bankrupt, brother. I never went to a lawyer talking about, hey, I owe motherfuckers money, huh? But this brother apparently, and I say brother because he's a human being, I don't think he's an alien, has 5 bankruptcies underneath his belt. 5. So what you're saying, what I'm saying, we have to admit he's the right man for the job. When America's bankrupt, you need a bankrupt motherfucker in there, both ethically and physically. He's a billionaire now, I'm sure. Kim Jong-il, come on over. We'll go to the Trump Towers over here and do a couple of things. All right, well, you just think, well, what about all the people Kim has? See, I stayed at Hyatt's before. I stayed at Hilton's. I understand. That's some fucking money. I understand calling up American Airlines talking about, I want a first class ticket, and actually hitting that MasterCard Gold card, punching in the numbers, unlimited balance, because you pay it off the next month, whatever you charge that month. So it's kind of tricky that way. But as long as you have money like that, and getting that $1,200 first class ticket, I understand that. But at the end of all that, you have to understand, these people are still insecure, these people are still broken, and these people are still highly corrupt on a personal level. I ain't talking about Nancy Pelosi or David Duke or any of them like that. I'm talking about humanity as a whole. That's why governments in itself as an institution, as a game, is highly dangerous. And for us to not even contemplate a reality where there are no such entities, there are no such mechanical tools in place, shows us just how lost we are and just how far we have given into this matrix that we call reality. This bug over there chirping has more freedom than you and me. Now, of course, you can visualize a hawk coming down or owl snatching his ass up and eating him, and aha, he's dead. But was it not Shakespeare or some other little European poet said, not all men, all men will die, and not all men have truly lived?
So then, Brother Pat, so like your take on where do you see the other morning show in the next few years? Like, where do you see the evolution of the show?
Well, I hope to see a studio, an actual physical studio, to where the other morning show operation is taken care of there, right? Where we're actually doing the videos and lights. A part of the studio complex, I would like to see a fulfillment center, where the other morning shows, we're fulfilling our own t-shirts, we're doing our own books, we're bringing in other people and doing their fulfillment as well. So then that frees up the average man or woman just to go out here and do their word, do whatever they need to do. And all you got to do is kick back and just get a check from us fulfilling to your audience. You know, you want those shirts there, you don't want to wait no month, you get those there in 2 days. Boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be coming through us. And that way the other morning show gets a piece of that and grows bigger. And then I want to start seeing satellite studios with men and women. And they don't even have to look like me. They don't have to look like my mom and my dad. They don't have to look like my brother and my sisters. But they have to feel like me. That's all I'm saying. Seeing them doing the show from their studios, which will be our studios collectively. So that way, I mean, how tight would it be? Say that you're touring, right? You're touring. And you're actually touring not just nationally, I'm talking about globally, right? Put together. And I'm like, hey, check this out, CI brother. I want you to stop by Paris. We have a studio there. You know, if you could show these brothers and sisters some love and stop in. You know what I'm saying? Come in, get something to eat, chill. Once again, they think like us. We do our thing. Look, what I want to see the show do is actually awaken young minds. Is actually get young people to think, I have all this potential and all this ambition, but I have all this faulty data. I want to get them to think, how can I plug in what these brothers are talking about and erase all that garbage? Once you do that, man, look, I don't have a hat on, so I can't actually speak the word of God. The book says, my people die from lack of knowledge. All right? Meaning that since our ignorance, like I'm sitting here drinking, I don't know there's cyanide in this drink. I'm just and I die, right? I died because of my lack of knowledge, my stupidity. We die because of the faulty data in our head. Once again, faulty data in, faulty outcomes, faulty data shot out of it. So we got to change. We have to admit to ourselves, yes, the old ways, are they working? I'm saying you are here not because of the old ways. You are here in spite of the old ways. Meaning that, let's say this, and I know this sounds crazy, but let's say that somehow someone found a manuscript of, and we broke it down with My Little Ponies. All right, and it says that the horse is the most noblest thing on the earth, right? And we should honor and revere the horse. Similar to how the Hindus are doing, certain sects, not the whole thing, that's insulting. Certain sects, really adorn the cow. So much so that if they saw you eat a hamburger, they would kill you. If you think I'm lying, Google that. All right. So this religion of My Little Pony has been passed down. People have went to their grave praying to My Little Pony. My Little Pony, save me, Pony Bright. Bring me over the rainbow. I'm gonna get my stable in the sky.
Even back then, they were promoting that agenda.
Well, because that agenda has been promoted ever since the 1600s, when the whole concept of race, what we ultimately are talking about, because that's what really affects us. But after that onions peeled back, why did those motherfuckers have to do that? Why did they have to construct this? That's the question that really needs to be answered. Because black folks were running that strong and dominant. Now, granted, people are going to look like, oh no, that's a lie. When you look at Africa, no, we're only seeing the devastation from the colonization of Africa. And one day, people are going to be like, look at America, it's always been a third world shithole. Just like right now, people are saying, Mexico is third world shithole. Don't forget, Mexico has some of the oldest cities in North America. What did I just say? Mexico has some of the oldest, and some of the islands of the Caribbean actually have the oldest cities in North America. But Mexico, the country, has some of the oldest cities in North and South America pertaining to colonization. Now, in South America, we have cities that were pre-colonizations, right? But those cities, in our minds, because of the brainwashing, has been reduced to laughable. Oh, you had a pyramid and a bunch of huts. You want to live? They didn't even have plumbing. And you kind of see their point. But the early cities and other early cities in America, they did not have plumbing. They did not have electricity either. Typically, all they really had was some sort of fence around them to keep the wild animals up off them. Because I don't know if you ever slept down in the woods overnight, or out maybe in the desert somewhere. And I really want to sleep in the mountains overnight, but I have slept in both woods and desert. If you're not orientated to this, it's scary as fuck. If I was to take you or anybody that would hear this, I was to snatch you up and take you over there to the Mississippi River, and we stay out there all night, no lights. You got water that can drown your ass. You got water moccasins and shit. You got God, what creatures are in there. It's kind of nerdy. Of course, you have your gun, because I ain't going to sit here and lie. We go out to the desert or the woods or any place, we're going to be strapped to the fucking hill. I don't play that going into a situation unarmed. All right, my name ain't King. It ain't. And I'm not fixing to get beat up or taken out. I'm not saying that I'm the baddest ass motherfucker in the world. I'm not. Anybody can get got. But I'm going to inflict some damage. Whether it be a little pinky, each time you look at a pinky, you'll be like, man, that motherfucker bit that son of a bitch up. Yeah, of course, he's dead, but it's better than looking at your hands. Who did I kill the other day? Some bum, I don't even know. Whatever. No, every time you look at that hand, you be thinking of this guy right here. Or that nose fucking ripped off, or the ear going. Every time. You can't tell me. He been in Holyfield. When he's getting fixed up, he's putting his little earrings in his ear. And he grabs that ear, and he remembers that motherfucker being gone. Who do you think? Who's he thinking of? Michael Tyson.
He said, he always talks like Thea. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's yeah.
So, why do I say this? I say this just to illustrate, man, that we can start looking at this world as our world now. I don't care what book says, whatever. This is our world now because I can do this and hand it to you. You gotta take it though. And then you can hand it to the next person. And that represents the light of knowledge. Clicking. So the ritual is done. The knowledge of fire has been given.
Right.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
That was the Matrix.
That's the Matrix. And people would die for that. People have died for that. You know, when we, oh, that dream.
Remember in Transformers, like when after Optimus Prime had died,
Why do you throw your
and
weight
he,
like
and he
past the matrix of leadership?
passed the Matrix of leadership to Ultra Magnus.
Yeah. Who
Ultra
didn't want it?
Magnus, it didn't work with him.